A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism one letter at a time.
Yeah. Yes.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
Another exciting installment in two middle-aged men's alcoholism, recovery, and just fucking hanging on by the skin of our teeth.
Woo!
Some days.
Yeah. Push it real good. That's that should be our new theme song instead
push
of
it.
Instead of neglects like spooky true crime music, which I love. It always sounds this music at the beginning always sounds like Unsolved Mysteries.
Dude, it's true. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah,
it does have a little true crime vibe to it.
And now we just need push it real good. You're like, what's up? I'm John and I'm an alcoholic and I'm gonna give it to you straight.
So I was listening to
Don't be a drunk motherfucker. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I was listening to some other podcast and they like the whole intro had the song going and they were like pumping you up about what they were going to talk about and all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, do we need to do something like that? Is that what's going to get? And I was like, it doesn't feel, it feels a little corny, I guess. But I mean, to each his own.
Yeah. It feels genuine to you and I.
Yeah.
I don't think you and I have ever been let's pump it up kind of dudes, though. I like moody true crime intro. I'm more of that kind of. Yeah.
Well, it's funny, moody true crime and you can go back in the pod feed and I interviewed Joe about it. Mm-hmm. And he said that his original inspiration for the theme song for us was Barney Miller.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of funny to me that he's like took this like, okay, I know these guys, Barney Miller, I want it to be kind of funky, but not, but it's still like my style. And so,
this is you and I. Yeah. I'm Fish. I want to be Abe Pagoda.
Mm-hmm.
Be Barney.
That's
right. That's right.
What are we going to talk about? So today, in the midst of everything, we had a couple of different topics, and the letter is F. Mm-hmm. And I thought that Future Trippin would be something that we could discuss. I know that, I don't know why, sorry, gave you a little heart there.
Thanks, buddy. I need all the love I can get, man.
So what is future tripping and how does it relate to my alcoholism? So, I mean, obviously, when people worry and people have anxiety and they think about the future and whether or not, like, I mean, in March, I didn't know where my next paycheck was going to come, and that was terrifying. And I have a very strong feeling that I'm going to be in that position again. I will be a little more secure this time, but it's pretty close. So this idea of always worrying about what's going to happen in the future. And I saw this meme that said something about, it was like, you have a problem. It says, can you solve it? If the answer is no, then don't worry about it. Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, then do that thing and don't worry about it.
Yeah. So that's a way to simplify it down though, right?
So, yeah. But I think that in alcoholism, and I was thinking about this earlier today, when I was drinking, and I think that, I probably speak for you too, there is this constant, it's an addiction. It's this constant, ever present, a craving and this need and desire and just it overwhelms everything else. And so you have to always think about what the next drink is going to be. We've talked about being prepared and stocking up on things or thinking you're gonna, which never works, right? You buy the big jug of whiskey thinking it'll last you a week, and then you're still through it in 3 days.
Right.
So you just drank more. But you're always like, and what's the next one? And what's the next one? And it breaks it down into like hours where you go, well, I just got to go to work and then I can have a drink after work. So if you put in the bus ride and I got 7 hours, so I can make it 7 hours, right? I'm kind of hungover. I'll make it 7 hours and then I can have a drink. And then the hours click by. And there's that other little, that that scene in The Simpsons with Lenny, where they have the hole in the bar, so that's the only hole where sunlight comes in, and they've drawn a line on the floor and it says drinking time. And so they just watch the sun pass over this thing, and once the little spotlight of sun reaches that line, then they can start drinking.
Yep.
And so it overwhelmed all of my thought processes. Processes. So it was a constant future tripping about where the alcohol was going to come from, let alone hangovers, unpaid bills, broken relationships, all the poor eating habits, every other fucking thing that came with it. And so I think that it gets, and not to diminish anybody who's not an alcoholic, who has anxiety, who has, issues with worrying about the future. It's a normal, natural thing to do.
Yes.
I think that what's not so normal and not so natural is to, let me rephrase that. What is not so helpful is to allow it to overwhelm you to the point of paralysis, which is what I think happens. And, especially with drinking, I mean, let alone the hangover, the paralysis of a hangover, and then to have to worry about like, oh God, I just got to feel better so I can get to work, and I've only got a couple hours to do that, and it's not enough time because I can't sleep. I'm going to feel like hell all day, and where's my next drink? So I think it's almost intrinsic into the alcoholic mindset to trip about the future.
Right. And so, and then in recovery, I find myself still doing it anyway sometimes. It's not as prevalent or pressing, but I found in my recovery that mindfulness is a motherfucker. It really is. It is fucking hard to be mindful. It has been incredibly difficult for me to just live within this moment, because all I've known for the past 17 years, 20 years previous to my sobriety was not being mindful in any way. So it's very difficult for me in 6 years to redirect that train, or that, you know what I mean? That train of thinking, that train of thought. It's been really hard. So mindfulness has been a bitch. It's been really difficult. But when I do get it in those fleeting moments, it's quite something. It's very different than the way I processed and worked before. So I think with future tripping, the idea here is to try your hardest to practice mindfulness, or try to find, or at least for me, is try to find some technique or some way for me to practice mindfulness, some type of mantra or some type of meditation or some type of, action that would make me think, okay, I'm here in this moment. What needs to be taken care of in this moment should be taken care of, and I shouldn't worry about. It's just like that meme. I shouldn't worry about things, or it's not worry, but I shouldn't fret about things that I have no control over, right? Isn't that all serenity prayer shit?
What is that? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change.
Right. So when my parents got sick with COVID, my mom and dad, and I wasn't really supposed to talk about it, but I guess I can be more open now because they're recovered, but my mom and dad got COVID, and they're both in their mid 60s. And I remember being really scared about it. I was very scared to lose them because everything was telling me in the media that they were going to die, that they were in that age range. My father has, like his lungs aren't the greatest. My mother is a cancer survivor. I was like, wow, their health is not conducive to living like a good life with COVID, And my mother kept telling me all I can do is what I did when I found out I had cancer. My mother spoke to another cancer survivor who was currently undergoing chemo at the same time my mom was. It's like something out of a movie, right? And this woman tells my mom, I just do a serenity prayer. So that's the only way I can deal with it, because I'm only in this moment, and I'm only mindful in this. I'm only aware of this moment. That's all I can really think about, So that's my mom said. That's how they got through the COVID, that's how she got through it, dealing with it, was doing the serenity prayer over and over again. So I try to apply that in my life, just that simple mantra, that simple line of thought, right? I mean, it's like that simple trick that's not simple at all. But I think that's what future tripping is just a device we've used forever, man. Just like you have just outlined in your whole previous monologue with me, is just we are so accustomed to like having to prepare for the next drink, the next pack of cigarettes. How am I going to eat? How am I going to pay bills? Am I going to make it to work tomorrow? I've got 4 hours to sleep, an hour to get ready. Am I still going to be drunk when I get up? Who fucking cares? Let's drink another one. Fuck it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm sitting here like sober, being like, fuck, everything is on me. You know, like every night my wife and I sit down and watch the news, watch the NBC News on YouTube, because I don't fuck cable no more. I ain't giving him money. But anyway. We like watch it every night, and every night, like I go to bed, I'm like, I look at her and I'm like, I gotta stop this because this devastates me. It's like devastating. Like I am so hopeless when I go to bed, and I can't watch this anymore at night with you because I'm future tripping. Like what's gonna happen? It's never gonna go away. We're gonna be sheltered in place forever. And the ones of us who have to go out and work, they're gonna get sick, and we're all gonna fucking die, and it's gonna come back. And then, getting links on my Instagram to an article in the Atlantic saying, basically like coronavirus is never going to go away. It's just going to keep coming back every year like the worst flu you've ever had. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, but these are all things that are out of my control. These are all future tripping things that may come to pass or may not. It's so uncertain. That's what Megan always tells me. It's very uncertain. You cannot, all you have is right now,
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely, it's true. And so we're just, trying to combat that, because it's such a natural, normal thing to be freaked out and want some, there's never any real certainty, right? Okay, we've come to realize that very quickly these days, that there never really was any. Jobs can be lost and shit can move, and you had to deal with, like, was a year ago you had to move. Remember that whole shit?
It was a year ago. I had to move, and it came out of nowhere. Yeah.
So that shouldn't be. I'm trying to not let that be something that scares me, that like there's literally no uncertainty, but it doesn't mean I can't plan for things. I can't be prepared for things. I can't continue to be, mindful of where I'm at right now. And those actions, they always build on each other. So let's, we always take our physical fitness as, it's a good marker for, what you can do and what can be achieved. And I think that when I look at something like at the beginning of July, you're thinking I was going to do 100 push-ups every day. And I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. There's no way. And in that month, I was able to far surpass my goal. And I was able to, I could do more than I ever thought I was capable of. Right. And I think that focusing not so much on the larger number, whatever that is at the end of the month, but rather the small, because you want to get mindful, Jerry, go do some push-ups. There's nowhere else to go. Like, you are there and you feel every single one of them.
I did a bunch of them this morning.
So I suggest that to anybody who's having trouble with mindfulness.
Not bad.
Get on the floor and go do 20 push-ups.
Shit, do a plank. Try to do a plank for a minute, and you are living in that moment in that plank. Yeah. I don't know if you fuck with planks. I fuck with all kinds of planks, but
not yet.
40 seconds, dude. 30 seconds into a plank, you're like, wow, I'm in this moment right now. And then you start shivering about 45, 50. I can't do them for very long, but yeah, that's absolutely right. That's a great analogy, is to be mindful by just do push-ups everywhere. Fuck it. Just bring gloves.
I do. Yeah.
Well, don't do them inside. Do them outside.
Do them outside. Yeah. But being as mindful as I can about what I'm doing, rather than looking at the large, daunting task of even living the rest of my life, making it through the next 6 months, and knowing that there's going to come a day where I am not going to, like, work is going to stop. Like, I know this already. I don't know which day it is, but it's ultimately the weather's going to be bad and the restaurant's going to close because there won't be any outdoor dining, right? There won't be any outdoor seating. And, let alone if something worse like Corona comes to town, you know, in a wave that is uncontrollable. So these are all real things. So what can I do today? I go, okay, well, I can eat healthy. I can take care of myself, I can exercise, and I don't want to. I want to step aside just for a second from our conversation to say that I think it's one of the most important things against, virus and immunity and all that kind of stuff is that vaccines are important and masks are important and social distancing is important.
Absolutely, yeah.
But much like combating my alcoholism, that I didn't realize was diet and fitness is vital to a healthy mindset, right? So I worry less if I know that I can do 100 push-ups in a day, not because that does anything necessarily, except I feel accomplished and I'm focusing on that task. I'm not worried about the huge, overwhelming woes of the entire world or the NBC nightly news that's scaring the shit out of me.
It is.
About what's going to happen. Well, you know what else could happen? Things could get better. Things could, in an
unprecedented way. Do you know what I mean? Like, absolutely.
We had unprecedented earlier this year. So it's like, I think that mindfulness is a motherfucker is true, but like all of these things that we do, it's a practice, So
yes, it is. You're right. Just like the 100 push-ups a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a practice.
And I had a therapist one time who told me, okay, so what are you worried about? I don't remember what I said. And they said, and then what? And then I said something else. And then what? And then what? And then what? And I think in the process of doing that and looking back on that, like it feels the answers I was giving were things were going to happen to me from the outside. And at no point during that questioning about, and then what, did I step into it and say, well, and then I am going to change my behavior. And then I was not really into this therapist. I was still drinking. But so I think that's another thing is to look at the actions that I can control today in this moment, trying to be mindful with, this conversation with you when, we started a little bit later than normal, and that's fine. That happens. But then it's like, well, I have to go to work after this. And so I have to be, well, is there enough time and this, that, and the other. And then it kind of destroys the quality of the conversation.
Right.
It destroys the quality of the connection in the moment. And it's fine. I'll have enough time to fucking get showered and dressed. I already made my lunch, Jerry. You know what I mean?
Right. You just got to get your slacks and your white shirt and you'll be all right.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So
right there in the bed. I know they're folded right.
They're right there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right. So it's all fine. But there's that, it's like that nagging itch. I'm like, I already made my lunch.
Course. I know it. I absolutely live with it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because even I am like, shit, I'm running late. John's going to have to go to work. Fuck, Megan. Like,
or the guy that I gave fucking, a million, I gave him like 50 peaches the other day, and he said he was going to bake me a pie, and then he was going to give it to me on Monday, and then he said he was going to give it to me on Tuesday, and in the middle of this whole conversation, he's calling me and he left me a voicemail. I'm certainly not going to play it right now because we're in the middle of recording a podcast and I'm not going to pick up the phone, but it's like, is he going to show up with a fucking peach pie? Now that's not a bad thing, but it's also like, it's distracting from the moment of this conversation. And I know this is getting a little more meta.
I know.
I'm
sitting here going like, Walter, why didn't you just make that pie like 2 fucking days ago? Jesus Christ, Walter.
And it's not even him.
Makes pies. Oh, it isn't? Yeah.
It isn't. But you wouldn't be wrong. And he wouldn't call this early in the afternoon. But but so it's like all these things. And so we do we talk about the shit fuck stacking and just compiling woes and problems and worries and stresses and annoyances when right now we're just talking and trying to have a conversation and get through our afternoon in the best way that we know how. And certainly we always, we're not everybody's going to be 100% engaged in every single conversation all the time. And we try to be, and I think our best conversations, our best podcasts are the one where we're really into it and it goes by quickly and we're like, oh, wow, that felt really great. So We're always trying to find that, but it doesn't always show up. But I just can't think about Sunday. I can't think about Monday. I can't think about September right now. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that in a lot of ways, the blindness through which I have been walking through life has been in some ways lifted because of the coronavirus, the pandemic, the shelter in place, the civil rights movement that's happening right now. All of these things are making me realize what's far more important is not whether or not I'm on time for my shift to wait tables on a Wednesday afternoon. That's fucking low on the priority, and still I have plenty of time. It won't be a big deal. So we try to combat the future tripping with the mindfulness. That's the antidote. You meditating at all these days?
No, man, I don't meditate, man. That's why I'm freaking out every night at the fucking news. Well, I practice a weird form of meditation. I guess when I paint, it's very meditative to me. I am listening to podcasts, and there's outside, I'm not doing that traditional meditation, but there is definitely a sense of mindfulness when I'm making art. And that's how I'm making my job right now, is commission painting. So I spend most of my day in the garage, painting. And so there is a sense of mindfulness there, but I don't think it's more diluted. Like, I need a more powerful sense of it. And so I should be meditating. Every podcast will just be me starting to be like, I should be meditating, but I am not.
Should we start each podcast with a 3-minute meditation?
Just silence for meditation.
I don't know. I mean,
meditation minutes.
Listen, if anybody's out there thinks it would be a good idea if they'd like to meditate with us for 3 minutes, maybe we could put at the end. I mean, it's a podcast. You can always skip through it, right? It's not like
I just don't know if dead air for 3 minutes is great radio, John.
You make a good point. Maybe I could do you could write up like a guided meditation, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not doing it. Hey, I was gonna say I can't let this one go.
Okay.
You're talking about your 100 push-ups. You did 3,000 push-ups last month.
I did 3,400 and change.
3,400 and change. So I think we should get you a T-shirt that says "No background checks." So that when people are like, "Why does that say no background checks?" You can flex and be like, "Because you're at the gun show, baby." You know what I'm saying? You're at the gun show. There's no background checks. That's what I'm thinking. No background checks.
But really,
anyway, your heart is in the right place with this meditation thing. It absolutely is. I'm just resistant to anything. But also, 3 minutes of silence. I don't know how that's going to work in a podcast world. Or just me guided meditation. Be like, y'all are on a fucking bridge, right? Yo, there's some hobbits. The hobbits are hiding under the bridge. They're hiding from you.
We're meditating in the Shire.
You're one of Sauron's Dementors. I know Dementors from Harry Potter. I'm not a fucking nerd. That's my guided meditation.
What is a Dementor? Is it like a ghost or something?
Yeah, it's like one of the Harry Potter, they were the guards at the jail that Gary Oldman was in.
I think that
J.K. Rowling wilded out. Well, I don't want to get into that, but she wilded out. She needs to fucking stop tripping. But anyway.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Well,
I think Twitter needs to be taken away from a lot of people, and I think people are too quick to just throw out every single thought.
Everyone. And then when something crazy happens, then we let it happen. But see, I'm also not political. We're not a political podcast. We're just two dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of mindfulness to combat the future tripping, I think, is really important. And I think that even just sitting quietly for 60 seconds, and people, I know,
it's not a bad idea. Even
60 seconds, think about where you're at and what you're doing, the meditations that I've done in the past, and the app that I've used, they talk about feel your arms in the chair and realize where you're at, and and if something, another thing that I do is I try to stay proactive about things that come up. So if I can, things like when bills come across my desk, right? But
another type of meditation.
when a bill comes to the mail, like the water bill comes every 2 months. So sometimes I forget about it. And I've been watering a lot in the summer to kind of, get the peaches and the nectarines and all the grapes and stuff, which is cool and important. And then so it just showed up and I was like, fuck, $250. Like that's a lot of money for the water. But that's every 2 months. But so one of the things I'll do is be proactive about it and pay it as soon as I can. Like if I have the money, it's not like, well, it's not due to the 20th, so I'll just wait until the 19th. Because what's the point in that? I mean, unless you don't have the money. I'm not saying, we all manage our finances differently, right?
Yeah.
And we all have to pay things at a certain time. But if and when I can, I will go ahead and get that fucking bill out of my life and out of my head as soon as possible. Like immediately if I can. If it's something pops up and it's like, hey, your Sprint bill's due. Well, boom, I'm done. I'm out of here. Like I'll pay it. And that really frees me up for not worrying about it or going, oh gosh, did I pay that one? What else do I need to do? And it frees me up.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have heard is time blocking, which I don't do a lot of. I have like a digital, what do you call it? Like a Google Calendar, and I'll put certain things on there, but even smaller tasks, when you block it out, when you have the time allotted, there's a certain level of freedom of knowing what's coming. So you can kind of create the security of the future by choosing what you're going to do. And then it just sort of frees up the moment, it frees up the present to not be a thing to worry about later. Now it's not going to work for everybody, and maybe it's not going to work for you. I don't know if you have a set time where like you say, I'm going to go paint, or,
I do.
But yeah, so, I mean, you have that. So you would say it's between 3 and 6 or 2 and 5 or whatever like that. And so when you begin to do those things, those tasks, whether they be for yourself or stuff that needs to get done or whatever, I feel like when you block those moments out, like even if it's 30 minutes, even if it's an hour, even if it's 15 minutes, and you actually put it on the calendar, then that frees you up because you know what's coming next and you don't have to worry about getting something done because you have planned and you have blocked out the time to do it.
Right.
And I found that to be something that's somewhat helpful. And I have my own blocks about getting things done, especially the stuff that I want to do and the stuff that I, the personal projects, like even, so I finally, speaking of those things, I have finally found a program and a workflow for the book that we've been working on since before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And that you did all the artwork for me like a year ago, and I still have been sitting on it and trying to figure out and wanting it to look good and wanting it to be good. And so now it's okay, well, stop worrying about it and block out the time to do it. And if I can, even if I spend 15 minutes a day, on something that I want to do at the end of the year, that's a lot of minutes.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's just like your 100 push-ups a day. Do you know what I mean? It all adds up. Yeah.
So
yeah.
And
that's that daunting task you break into processes. Yeah.
So it's just those little, we break everything down. We break it with, days into hours and hours into minutes and, programs into steps. So like, why the fuck not the stuff in my personal life? Another thing too, I don't know, my girlfriend and I live in separate houses and stuff like that. And we've taken to, we block out time that we're going to spend and we put it on the calendar and we say, and maybe that seems a little less spontaneous.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But it's different when you live in two different cities, man.
Yeah. So I think that it really helps us to stay a little more connected, especially in this time of disconnection from a lot of people.
Yes.
It's like, okay, well, I'm planning on spending this time, so I don't have to think, oh gosh, I haven't seen my girlfriend in 3 days, and I don't know when I'm going to
Right.
see her, and I don't know what's going on, and is she okay, and does she, you know,
Does she
the
still
worry of,
love me?
does she
Does
still
she love
love
me
me?
anymore?
Oh, I haven't talked to my friends, or do my friends want to be my friends still? You know, there's a lot of that stuff. I think I think a lot of people think that way, and they're like, I don't know. And well, you know, you can block out time, and you just, I feel like I need to just be more intentional with the time, because especially in these hazy days of quarantine, like how, before you started going and doing the painting in the garage, like I know your days were kind of aimless,
Well,
and
I
you
was
started
making
doing the videos.
videos, right? So my whole entire day was around making and editing a 2-minute video. Like it would take the entire day. And every day I woke up, I had to think of a new idea. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to repeat myself because in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, there's this like nameless, faceless following that's watching, and they're going to be like, he did that idea last Tuesday. So like it was, yeah, it was, it was fucking hard. It was a pain in the ass. I made it to like 57 videos, one video every day for 57 days. I'm on like 140 days now,
Mm-hmm.
145 days of quarantine at this point.
But that was, I mean, that was at least something to take your mind off and have something
Yes.
to focus on, right?
Busy work, right? Busy work.
Busy work, and it was, I guess it wasn't, I thought it was more fun than you're making it out to
It
be.
was fun. It made me laugh. Like I would laugh at myself, but it would become really stressful at times because I had no plan. Like I said, I never blocked anything out. I just wake up and be like, I'm going to talk like Batman today. And then try to edit a video of me talking to myself like Batman. Do you know what I mean? And then some days I'd wake up and be like, I just want to play Conan Exiles all day. I don't want to film a video of me talking like Batman. So
Mm.
I don't know. But if I had blocked out time like the way you do it, I think it would have been more enjoyable in the sense that I'm like, all right, I work out, and then from like 10 a.m. to noon, I just edit and make a little movie, instead of it being like, oh, what do I do now, because that's not how I paint. Every day I get up, I work out, I'm done. Every day I try to be done working out by 10. And so then I do my chores, feed my animals, make my breakfast, and I'm in the garage by 11, and I paint from about 11 to about 3 or 4, sometimes 5. If I'm really inspired and kind of riding that wave of creativity, I'll hit it till about 5. And when I have like right now I'm on a break because I have no supplies, but once my supplies come in tomorrow, it's right back into the routine. I do that almost every day. I'll take like one day off to fuck around all day, and then it's just back. I feel weird when I haven't painted in 2 days, and I feel weird. Like I'm like, man, I need to get back to work.
And that's so funny to me as an observer, and knowing you as your friend, and like for the past year, I think if you went and listened back to old podcasts, I'm sure there's some place where I'm encouraging you to quit your job,
right?
because I had
haven't
quit my job.
I've just right?
And you would say to me, I don't know, man, I don't want this painting thing to be the thing I make money off of, because then I won't enjoy it. And I don't know if you feel exactly that way anymore, or
no,
still.
It's work, but it's work I'm enjoying right now. I mean, and I think, I don't know, I have more wiggle room with it emotionally. With tattooing, you just do whatever comes in off the street. And I did that for 20 years. So for 20 years, if I had available time, whatever your fucking idea was, if it was dumb as hell, I would still have to do it. If it was the most like illustratively incorrect thing in the world, I would have to do it if I wanted to eat. So if it made no sense, absolutely, I would still have to, I would either do it and eat or do it and not pay my water bill, so it was, I don't know. I have a little more freedom now with this painting because, people send me pictures of their dogs and be like, slap a suit on that motherfucker. And I slap a suit on a dog and paint it, but it's kind of fun because I get to mess around and work a process. Whereas with tattooing, it was just like, I would have one day where I would do 4 the exact same image over and over again on 4 completely different people, and it just, I don't know, man. I just didn't see the love in it. And I haven't officially quit yet. I mean, I owe one more person a tattoo, and then from there, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm just gonna bring all my shit home and be like, my books are closed indefinitely, or keep my shit there and start working 2 days a week once everybody stops being stupid and we can get over this stupid coronavirus. But I don't know, man.
I like the idea of the emotional flexibility in your work. And I think that's really important. I mean, I don't necessarily have that in the job that I do for money.
Right.
And not everybody has that, but like, I remember when you weren't even entertaining the notion of like, I'm going to quit my job and just paint, because I think that, and we all do this, and especially we alcoholics, we're very quick to put the blinders on for other possibilities.
Yeah.
I think. Does that make sense?
No, yeah. I think we all have a future trip, and that's why this is great. We have this like failure ready to be set up already. Like you said, the and then with your therapist, and that was me in tattooing. It was a lot of future tripping. Was if I don't do all these Roman numerals all day, you know, or whatever it is, you know, whatever fucking thing I don't want to do. If I don't do these things, then I can't. Then I have no money. Then we get evicted. Then we have to live in my car. You know, like following that line down, instead of being like, well, you spend all day compromising. Like, why don't you just compromise on different things? You know.
It's true. It's so true, man.
Because we do compromise. Like, do you really want to go to work and wait tables? No, but you have to. But you compromise that with like the other things in your life that, you know what I mean? And eventually, you know, hopefully I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, we could break that all down, but that's like
so yeah. Well, I would say that I have been compromising my time over the last, 18 months before May or whatever. I was prioritizing my free time. I was prioritizing my fitness. I was prioritizing a lot of artwork that I was doing, a lot of the podcast work. And so what I didn't have was a lot of money.
Right.
And I was putting myself into debt to afford that very meager yet free lifestyle. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, time to pay the piper, as they say.
Right.
So now I'm kind of compromising my free time with like, I'm going to make money. I'm going to save as much money as I can, because I now have this sense that I want to be prepared, because I've done this once before. And what I see in the future is not something like I'm scared to be out of work. I am, but I'm also making a plan and organizing in my head my finances and really trying to dial in, like, how much does it cost to keep John alive every month?
Right.
In this particular iteration. And then I go, what is the smallest amount of money possible? Okay, so I need to have this much money to get through this many, months of bad weather, assuming, I can't control coronavirus.
No, none of us can.
I can't control whether I contract it or not. I really can't. I mean, I can stay home and I can lock it up, and I can wear a mask, and I can get the glasses with the face shield, and I can wear gloves. But ultimately, there are actions and behaviors I can follow that will help keep me safer than not. Minimize the risk. But I'm mitigating risks all the time, trying to figure out what I'm doing here. So the point of this whole thing is that I am feeling more confident about what's going to happen in the future negatively, the negative possibilities, by maximizing what I do today and going, okay, this is what I'm building toward, so that when the fucking storm comes, I already have all my, what do they call them? Storm doors? No,
storm windows.
Storm windows,
Tarps.
Well, I'm getting all those things prepared,
sandbags.
sandbags, all of that
Sure.
stuff because I'm not sure if there's a storm on the way, but I'm
right. But it's good to be prepared.
there was one. There was one 5 months ago. And so I feel like, okay, so there's another storm coming. Well, what did I need in March? Okay, I needed money. I needed a bigger understanding of my finances and, again, what it takes to keep John alive every month.
Right.
So
in this iteration, I do like that you did make that, though, in this iteration. It is correct, because in 5 years, there's a different iteration of John who may require different things, may require less, may require more. You know? Yeah.
Right. So what can I do to be ready for the next storm? And so that's what I'm focusing on today. And that's,
so, what would be the difference between preparedness and future tripping? Just like I ask myself all the time, what's the difference between being vigilant and being afraid? You know what I mean?
What I think, I think that it is inactivity, and it's paralysis, and it's fear.
Right.
So fear and paralysis and inactivity. Right. That's because if I'm afraid of the future, I'm just afraid. Oh, coronavirus is going to get me, and I'm not going to have any money, and I'm going to be out on the street, and I'm going to, like, I've never let myself be homeless before. Pretty goddamn close.
Right. But, even as a drunk, like a blackout drunk. Yeah. You still had a house. Yeah.
I still had a house. Right. So there's something I can look at. I can go, okay, I've never let myself down in that way before. I can preparedness. And that's just what I'm doing today to be ready for that thing, so that I go, well, you knew this was coming. Prepare for the worst, or what is it? Prepare for the worst and expect the best, or you know,
or something like that. Yeah.
There's a thing.
Or was it expect the best and prepare for the worst? I guess I just took what you said and flipped it.
Yeah, I think there was on one of the other one of the political podcasts I listen to. The guy always says, "Worry about everything, panic about nothing." And
wow, yeah, okay.
So, but I don't know that worry is necessarily, but you can be prepared for things. You can I can bolster myself, you know, through my finances, through my health, through my relationships, through my friendships today, so that when the next thing comes down, I'm not as crushed, devastated, or in panic and fear as I was in March. Because I haven't forgotten that. And I also hearken back to, you know, I remember when I first got sober and you said, remember your last bender and tattoo it on your brain.
Right.
And so I try to think at the beginning of March where I was at and how scared I was and how quickly the money was dwindling and how little of it I had and how I had no way of making any more money in the immediate future. I didn't see it. Right. And there's lots of ways that people make lots of money. But, you know, again, there's a fucking virus and pandemic and all that stuff.
Right. Your abilities to be able to make your opportunities to make it are getting like,
So if that happens again, what do I need? And what will I be, you know, capable of doing? So I think that's the difference, is being prepared and you know, what did you say? Vigilance and being afraid.
Right.
Is being active in that vigilance, is taking some control over what you do today, having some agency about, you know, how I behave today and what I prioritize, especially my time, which we have realized is so fucking precious. And we didn't know what to do with time because we haven't had any for so long. And then we're given this huge swath of time, and it's just anxiety and depression is dumped on top of it. And it's like, so that wasn't really free time, but now we've kind of done this once. Okay. And we can be a little less anxious. Now I'm not saying to not be cautious, Jerry, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
So when the shit hits the fan again, like for real, and, you know, people aren't like going on vacations or, you know, doing whatever, like if it's again like, oh, everyone is sick around me, like, okay, I know what to do now, and I don't have to be as terrified.
Right.
And also looking back at my past, my personal past, of how I've taken care of myself and how I can support myself and how I can depend on myself.
Right. It's so funny you talk about the personal past, and it works within tandem of this podcast as well. As I saw one of those meme pages, this sobriety recovery meme pages on Instagram, and it was like, I think about 2020 and how shitty it is, but then I remember my rock bottom and realize I can totally fucking do this. Do you know what I mean? And it really put it in perspective for me, because I was like, 2020 is hard. It's been a hard year. It's been hard for everybody. It's been heartbreaking. But 2014 was a motherfucker. Like, that was the real hard year for me. That I feel hopeless when I go to bed now, but I'm just feeling sorry for myself, and I'm feeling scared about shit I can't handle. You know what I mean? I'm just I can't remember the word I'm trying to think of right now, but I'm just it's nothing compared to the hopelessness and total like desperation I felt in 2014.
Yeah.
That's as bad as it could get for me, was that last year of drinking.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at 2020 and I'm like, fuck, dude, like, everybody around me, people are getting sick. People I love are really sick. People I love are worried about. I'm worried about them. I worry about my family, all these things. But then I'm like, but that wasn't like that 2014, motherfucker, so that was a really good perspective check. So, I mean, I would suggest, like, if it gets scary like that, and you're listening to this podcast, you probably have had a rock bottom, or maybe even experiencing one now. I hope you're not. And if you are, I know it. I've been there. But yeah, I would say compare and contrast the two, And if it's worse now, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That sucks if it's worse now than it was back then. Because it can be for some people. It's a wide brush I'm painting. Painting with, John. I mean, think about your 2015, right? That was when you got sober.
Yeah.
Think about the circumstances that led you to that point in that hot July. You know what I mean? And where we are now in this hot August,
I am infinitely more well equipped, and I've become infinitely more well equipped in the last 5 months. Now I feel very unique, and not unique, but my situation is unique, right? Yeah. But I feel very grateful that I have been able to not only deal with it, but kind of feel better than I was 5 months ago. Yeah. And better prepared and understanding what I require. And just, there's a sense of knowledge of self. And I think that that's been something that's exponentially better than it was in 2015 when I hit my rock bottom, when I was feeling miserable and shitty, and when I was overweight, and the only thing I wanted to do was drink and eat and just like consume anything to make me feel different than I felt, which was awful.
Right.
So now I have many other tools, and even in the middle of a global pandemic, I can go, to the regional park up the street and go for a run and fucking see deer and buzzards and squirrels. You know what I mean?
And like, I can envy that. I'm in my position envying you for that, because I only really have the one or two parks I can run, and I don't, you know what I mean? I'm like looking at you in Napa, and I'm like, dang, he's got so much room out there, to run out in the rolling hills of Sonoma County or whatever. And so I think it's great. The tools you have now are so different than the tools you had in 2015. And that's what I have to remind myself. The tools I have now are so different than what I had in 2014. I know we keep talking about how we can't imagine it in this pandemic, still drinking, but can you imagine if you were still bartending and drinking during this pandemic? You'd be like super assed out of a job because they shut the bars down, right?
And be broke.
And be broke. And then your tap for free drinks is gone. You can't go there.
No. So it would be awful. I mean, I don't know how much booze I could steal from the bar before they closed down.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, I can picture you stealing a bunch of booze from the bar and being like, we're going to ride this out. I'm going to have to fucking wait
1 week later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, or even in that situation, compared to now, I'm just, that's the other thing that alcohol does, is it stole from me. All I wanted was to drink. So there was no motivation, there was no interest, there was no discipline, there was no ability to create a better right now.
Right.
With any concern for the future. Right. So I didn't even have that ability, because all I was doing was, you feel like a fucking rat. You're just trying to hoard. You know, who else hoards? Do rats hoard? Do they actually hoard? Like, I don't know what animal pack rats, right? So just hoarding as much as I can to hide in the darkest fucking hole and not come out unless I need something. And that was my alcoholism. That was my drinking, was being a rat. I was such a fucking rat in a hole, rat in a cage, despite all my rage.
You're Billy Corgan. I was waiting for that Billy Corgan to come out. I was waiting.
So that's something that's like, wow, all right. So am I cautious? Am I careful out there? Am I cognizant? Do I try to stay aware and knowledgeable of what's going on in my community and my area and all of this stuff? Yes. Am I struck and paralyzed by fear? Not like I was in March.
Right.
That may be
there a little bit, though. I know
it's still there a little bit.
I got it too.
I may be more conditioned to the outside than you are right now, right? Because
you absolutely are. You absolutely are, because you go away tables, dude. I don't go anywhere. I really rarely go anywhere. I run, and then I did help my wife do an open house where I just sat outside. Mm-hmm. I was like that open house bouncer. I went into a pizza parlor and ordered a pizza on the phone, then went in and talked to him behind plexiglass. That's it. I haven't been anywhere.
You should go to the coast, Jerry.
I'm not supposed to. They're telling us not to. They're like,
they don't want people. Yeah.
Motherfuckers don't get us sick. So then my wife's like, let's go on a hike. But everybody's on a hike right now. So I'm like, even though I have a real nice trail I can run, but then everybody's on that trail because everybody's like me. They're like, I haven't been anywhere. So let's go out in the woods and walk on a trail. I'm like, damn. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. No, and I wonder.
My runs, man. I save it up for my runs.
I wonder if I'm being conditioned incorrectly, right? So I try to think about it like, but I'm doing what I have to, and I'm doing the best I can.
I don't think you have much of a choice, right?
So no, not right now.
It's not like you can sit in your garage and paint. You know what I mean? Like, I have that privilege, and I'm very grateful for that. That's my gratitude, is the program I can work and the privilege I have, that I'm like, well, I can live off my art to some semblance. My wife is still getting a paycheck from the school district. You know, she's still going to have to do everything over distance learning, which the program she works with these kids is really hands-on. So she's going to have to be having Zoom meetings with these little kids, you know. They're not starting in school, on-site school, until December here.
Okay, well, that's good.
It's going to be, it's great, because I was freaking out. And so that means I don't think my wife is going to have to be on campus until December. So if we can get our shit together as a country, it shouldn't take that fucking long, but if we can get our shit together, we can have a Christmas with masks on. You know what I'm saying? But that's.
I'm gonna get it. You're gonna see masks with the Santa beards attached for Christmas.
Yeah, you will. I'm gonna have little jingle balls off mine and be like, ching ching, you know, have a holly jolly. Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and I'm not Christian, but I love Christmas. I just love it. It's because I have a child.
Yeah, you're gonna see ugly sweater masks or ugly mask parties.
Yo, you need to get on that now.
Is that it?
Never wait a table again. You'll be rich forever. Ugly sweater masks.
Ugly sweater masks.
I got a mask manufacturer in Turkey. I got a print.
Right?
Yeah, I got a print shop in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Got someone bringing over. Go, ugly, with the Rudolph nose on the front of it and shit.
Mm-hmm. You'll see, little carrot for fucking Frosty.
Holy cats, dude! It's like this Halloween. I love fall and Halloween. Halloween's gonna suck.
Yeah, well, there's just, you can't go around be getting candy from strangers, and everybody's touching everything, and so
it doesn't even work. I can't even leave the honor bowl like I did last year.
But there's no
just one piece. I'll make a little doggy door, and then when they ring, I know we're getting off track here, but I'm gonna make a doggy door, and when they ring the bell, I'll just push a piece of candy out with a pair of tongs. And then, right? And that'll be spooky, like a fog machine. Fog will come out of the doggy door. There'll just be some salad tongs with a baby Ruth, and just drop it on the step and then just retract it.
A little fake witch. So, but what can we learn from talking about Halloween, which is months away, is that there's nothing to be done about Halloween. Okay. So there you go. Tongs in the doggy door. We've got it figured out. So we really can't worry about it.
Even if the pandemic calms down by Halloween, I'm still doing that.
Right. That's just how I'm doing.
some reason we're all miraculously cured tomorrow, I'm still doggy door and tonguing it now. That's all I'm doing. Yeah.
So yeah, but there's nothing, I can't like, oh man, Halloween's ruined and Christmas is ruined, and what about next Arbor Day? Oh,
right. And that's what I'm doing right now. I shouldn't be doing that, but you're absolutely right.
But today, Wednesday, August 5th, as we record this, and it's beautiful and sunny. I didn't go for a run because my ankles have been bothering me, but I did my fucking, that's okay. That's all right. I need to rest.
Did your push-ups though? Did your push-ups?
I did 100 push-ups. I did 100 crunches, and I did 100 squats this morning.
Ooh.
So those don't stop.
You're gonna have an ass, dude. You're gonna have glutes.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I have that flat fucking.
So do I.
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of weight. My ass got flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not
so my girlfriend always says to me, she's like, "Where's your booty?"
You're like, it's hidden. It's a hidden treasure. It's been buried.
So I think that it's really important to like say, okay, so what am I going to do today? I'm going to call the dude back and see if there's a peach pie available.
Yeah, and I can't believe you gave him 50 peaches. That's a big ass pie.
Well, he was going to bake one for himself, one for me, and then he's like, I'll dehydrate a bunch.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, whatever, man, whatever works. Like I'm down. I want some peach pie. So, that's what I can do today. And then I can get cleaned up and I can, get my shit together and feel good about going to work, making some money to pay off the bills that I have and, save a few more bucks. Like, that's what I have to do right now today and focus on right now.
Right.
Cause fucking, it's not Halloween yet.
No, it's not Halloween yet.
So there.
I remember Halloween. We'll see what happens.
But I just to review. I think we used to have chemistry, like high school chemistry class, and they would have these movies, and at the end they would go to review, and they would talk about, I don't know.
I ditched all that. I don't know. I wasn't there.
There.
I wasn't really there in high school. No, I kept ditching.
I love this idea that, when you're future tripping, what is the tool we use? Mindfulness.
Mindfulness. Yeah. See, I'm not even good at the to review part. You tell me, and then I'll just repeat.
Mindfulness. So you said,
that's what absolutely.
That's what combats it. So being mindful about the moment, like what, and just knowing that I know that what I do right now is actually going to help produce a better tomorrow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That's it. So I'm going to continue to do that and not worry about tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about the 100 push-ups tomorrow. I just did the ones for today.
Yeah. Right? Mindfulness. Try that serenity prayer. You don't even have to say God. You can just say bear. Bear. Grant me that serenity, bear.
You don't even need to say anything. You can just say, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can,
Yep.
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Bring it on home, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's all. You just got to accept it. If you can accept it. And know when you can't.
Know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
And the words of the immortal Kenny Rogers, who is not immortal because he just died recently, I believe. Rest in peace. Rest in power, Kenny. Yep.
If you count your money while you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
That fits in with that serenity prayer, don't it? Shit.
I think it is. I think the gambler was all about the serenity prayer.
Yeah, I think so too. We can't ask him now, though.
No, not now. All right, Jerry.
All right, man.
Thanks again for listening. Our music, as always, is by Neglect. You can find more of his stuff at neglect.bandcamp.com.
And you can find us on all social media platforms that matter: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you can reach us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.